The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, an iNetworks communication station.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Chicago, Illinois, in the state of Illinois, in the country of America, and in 60 other countries around the world, we are here today to say hello and to greet you with peace and the promise of paradise. I hope your week went well. I hope that positive things happened in your life, and they have in mind, and my partner here today. And we want to share with you an excellent show because we have a most excellent person in our midst today, by the way, who happens to be a mentor and a guide to many in the business that we're in called media. In my opinion, and humbly, I would say so, he is the best TV journalist that I've seen. I've been knowing him for approximately 30 years.
Yes.
In fact, it's been 32 years. I'm going to be a little bit more specific. And during that 32 years, we've had some wonderful exchanges. We've done some great things together. And this gentleman right here is funny because I met him in a barber shop in Evanston, Mr. Sam Johnson. If you're listening,
Oh my.
you know, praise the Lord. He's retired now, but
Yes.
he happened to be his barber,
Right.
the gentleman that I'm talking about, I'm going to introduce. And he was also my barber from the time I was a child. My dad and my brother, we moved to California. Of course, he couldn't serve me there. When I came back to Chicago, I had to go to Evanston to get my haircuts from Sam Johnson again.
That's why you look so good.
Thank you very much. I tried my best. All my hair is gone, but the cut is still there.
No, you got your hair, brother. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to waste any time. This man has a whole lot more to say than I do, and we want the world to hear it.
Yes.
His name is Art Norman, the
Hey.
great Channel 5 broadcaster of all time.
Thank you very much, Don. It's a pleasure being here. And I love the history of how this radio station got started. What an important part of our broadcast history that I didn't know about until today. And the minister who started it when he was homeless.
Reverend Franklin Morris.
Oh my gosh, what that gives you chills to hear his story of how this wonderful radio station got started. What a history. What a history. I'm just proud to be here.
Yes, sir. And your suggestion earlier is not falling on deaf ears. When we won the Stella Award, this station 2 months ago, when he brought that Stella Award back from Atlanta, the first thing that came to my mind is we need to interview him. Because it was a dream, a vision, and a gift from God. And that needs to be known. And so he kind of reluctantly agreed to the interview. And I want to see it again. It was a beautiful thing. He's a great person to work with. He is the one that's responsible for me being here. He recruited me from a restaurant.
Really?
Yeah. The Bonefish Grill. In what city is that? Orland Park?
Yeah, it's a nice restaurant.
I was singing while my band was performing.
Yeah.
He had a table of about 12 people.
Yeah.
And we got into a conversation. He says, I want to invite you. And he invited me here.
Wow.
And I stayed. That was last November. That changed my life, changed my world.
It changed your
Because
world.
I never saw myself as a journalist. I never saw myself as a person on radio, TV. But I have to say this, I got people like you. I don't have to do much talking. The Lord said, you are not what it's about. It's about the wonderful content that people need to have that can change their lives.
We're in a very important industry. When we speak to millions. You got to understand. You got to think about the imaging that we project, what this radio station projects, what Don projects, what we all project. I mean, look at the awards. They don't give these awards. You have to earn them. When you become the stellar awardee, you pay some dues. There's no doubt about it. And that's one of the things that I see every day when I run into people and the owner of this radio station. What a powerful prayer. I mean, full disclosure, before we got started here, he prayed for us.
Yes, sir.
And we all got teary-eyed So what a powerful man. I wish we could get him sitting right here with us.
We will.
Thank you.
We'll have to do another segment and bring him to tell his complete story, because he only told half of it or less when I interviewed him.
Well, I'm a guy that began as an engineer long time ago in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went to a historically black college, Johnson C. Smith University, one of the 41 institutions under the purview of the United Negro College Fund. I was there as a student. It's one of those things that you get to see things differently. You know, for example, that when you see a stop sign, you think of Garrett Morgan and the black man who invented it and became a millionaire. Stop signs and stop lights all over the place. And then when I look on TV and I see the state of Israel and they're bombarded with bombs and they all put on a gas mask. Black man did that. And my company, GE, the parent company of NBC, paid him in 1916 dollars, $30,000. That was like $30 million back then. Became a wealthy man, bought a newspaper, wrote articles. That's who Garrett Morgan was. There's a Garrett Morgan Elementary School here in Chicago. And you walk and you see the original stop sign. You know, they got stop signs in Russia. They got stop signs in Ukraine. Well, not much, not because of the bombing, but the point is, you go to Mississippi, they got stop signs. Every time I see a stop sign, I said, thank you, God. The black community did this, made this contribution. So those are some of the things that, you know, when I was a student, going all the way back, I'm a New Yorker. I know a lot of people don't say New York. New York. I'm a New Yorker. I was born and raised in Harlem. I was born in Harlem Hospital, came up, you know, at the age, I didn't get off of welfare until I was 17. And it's one of the things, so I know what government cheese is, not government, government cheese. The point is, I had to, Dr. King would be speaking at the church, and I was a peewee. I mean, I saw Dr. King so much. In the 1963 March in Washington, I was there. I was there watching Dr. King because I was with the Abyssinian church bus. And I was on my mother's head of the usher board at Abyssinian Church. So that's one of the things that every Sunday, I would be reading the church announcements as a 12-year-old, all the way until I got ready to go. But the point is, I would say, you know, Martha Johnson is in the hospital today. Please stop by room 1217 at Harlem Hospital or drop her a card. And I would do that Adam Clayton Powell was my minister. And he would say, senior and junior. But the point is, that's where I came up. That's who I am. That's my DNA. So I come up to that, and then Dr. King told my mother, listen, you need to take that boy out of New York City because it's gonna get bad. He's exposed because my mother told me, he said he had A's all through school. Then he get to senior year, he had B's. What's he doing? And so Dr. King said, he's probably hanging out. Get him out of town. Send him somewhere where he knows nobody. Historically black colleges that fit mold perfectly. And I went to Johnson C. Smith, majored in math and physics with a minor in English. So who'd think math and physics is my background, but I'm working in the English thing because I built a radio station while I was there. The radio station is on the campus now. I built by hand. I went to the different TV stations in town and said, listen, I need an audio board. I need this, I need that. And they all donated because I'm from Johnson C. Smith. They said, little black college, man, let's take care of them. Let's take care of them. So we got a lot of equipment free. And I put it together. I sat there and soldered a lot of wires, and I got the radio station going. They said, man. So I thought, because I built it, they're gonna hook me up. They're gonna say, all right, you can be a DJ. Because at the time, Muhammad Ali was popular, and it was like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Everybody was rhyming. You know, it sound like Frankie Crocker on the radio at WGIV in New York. But the point is, I thought I could do that. And they said, all right, you're not a DJ. You're a good man. You built all this, but you're not a DJ. Why don't you read the news at the top and the bottom of every hour? That's your job. And that's how I started. I was in the radio station doing that thing, and then I got to I was heavily recruited by IBM to be a research physicist. that didn't start till September, but I needed a job because I had a brand new baby. So I said, listen, I got to find me a job. So I have an engineer's license as a result of being in New York City. So I went to the TV station. They said, wow, we don't have any, never had any blacks here do engineering. So I became an engineer, but the youngest engineer was the one that had to climb the tower. And the FAA says you got to change the light bulbs because people use those lights to navigate landings. So they said, get the young kid, me. I had to climb that tower, and I was always afraid of heights, but I had to feed my cat family. I said, I climbed that tower, changed the light bulb, came on back down. But the point is, I did it. And then from midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning, all I did was maintenance. Change the lights, run the videotape machines, the projectors. I would do the maintenance because I was really good at it. I mean, at Johnson C. Smith, I had a sign at my dormitory, TV on the brink, record player won't play, call Art Norman. Yeah. And I made a lot of money just fixing stuff for $2, $3 a pop. So I would do that. And then I got to the TV station. There was an AM, an FM, and a TV. That's where I worked as an engineer. And they had a sign on the wall said, we're looking for someone to anchor the news on radio. Anybody want to give it a shot? I said, I'll try it. They said, well, you ever done this before? I said, yeah, at Johnson C. Smith. Oh, okay. Let's give him a try. And man, they didn't know. They said, he's got a good voice. All he has to do is read the news. You're hired. And I did it just like that. So they said, instead of working 5 days a week as an engineer, I was working 7, doing Monday through Friday as an engineer. Saturday and Sunday, I was working doing the radio. And so that became a blessing in disguise. And so one day they said, listen, can you do TV? I said, I'm not good at TV. I've never been on TV. He said, really? I said, no. With that voice? I said, man, I'm just telling you the truth. This is a black man's voice. Everyone who taught me from the time I was 2 years old up to now was a black man. So I don't know. I'm not racist, but I don't know people who helped me who were white. Everybody who helped me. I mean, Adam Clayton Powell was a powerful man in New York City and a great minister. His father was a great minister, and his son and I are contemporaries. We're the same age, and we all grew up together. So I'm at the TV station. I'm there working, and they said, "You're at the TV station." They said, "Listen, we're going to do a live shot." Well, Art's an engineer, really? I said, "Yeah." Man, they said, "We got a hell of a package here."
Yes, sir.
So you go out on the story, you report the story, and those TV trucks with the transmitter, you have to have a license to operate that. I had it. They said, man, so you can sign on the radio station, sign on the TV transmitter from the field. I had to log it, sign on, sign off, and I was the live reporter. It's amazing. This all happened so fast. I'm saying, but you know what? I was comfortable. I wasn't nervous. I wanted to prove to them that I was okay. That's all. And so I did that, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. You waving your hand?
No, I was a little piece of lint or something. So no, I'm not.
All right,
I'm listening.
Thank you very
much. You thought I had the Holy Ghost. Go ahead.
No, so yeah, they're working at the TV station, and I'm there for 9 years working at the TV station as a reporter. No anchoring, just reporting. Just let's go live to Art Norman. Let's go live to Art Norman. Art Norman is live on New Year's Eve. You know, the point is, so then somebody sees me and offers me a job in Baltimore. I said, Baltimore? I said, no, I'm fine in Charlotte. I went to college here. I know everybody in Charlotte. This is my town. They said, well, at the time I was making like $18,000, $19,000 a year. That was a big money in 1969. Yes, it was. So I said, we're going to give you a raise, like you'll double your salary to do TV in Baltimore. I said, shut up, let's go. Me, my wife, and my son, we moved to Baltimore, and we had a good time. I'm there, you know. I said, man, and I'm sitting. The next desk over from me belongs to Oprah Winfrey. So we're like contemporaries. I said, where you come from? She said, Kingsport, Tennessee. I said, where you come from? I said, Charlotte, North Carolina. I said, we're the only Negroes in this newsroom. So we had a good time. It was Oprah's job every day we went to work. Oprah, where we eating today? Because we didn't have a lot of money. So we didn't, Oprah said, they get all the wings you can eat at the Holiday Inn. I said, that's where we go. After work, we went to the Holiday Inn, man, we chowed down. Neither one of us drank. Thank God that's a blessing. Because the alcohol could just mess your mind up.
Costs a lot of money too.
It does cost a lot of money, but I didn't drink, neither one of us. So we would go there and drink a Diet Coke and eat wings for days. And every day Oprah would say, oh man, Cross Keys got crab cakes, all you can eat during happy hour. They've abandoned happy hour because too many people get drunk during that. So we're working together and having a good time. And 6 years we're sitting next to Oprah Winfrey. She's done a hell of a reporter. She could tell a story, and she did what she did and her success because she loved to tell other people's stories. And that was her claim to fame. She would tell a story for you. All right, Mr. Johnson, tell me about your son. Instead of saying, how did your son die from the drive-by? She said, tell me something positive about him. What did he do in high school? And she would go deep into the bowels of an interview. And I would say next, I said, nice job, Bo. Damn. She said, thank you. We still close to this day. But that's how it started. So I'm in Baltimore doing the news. Not anchoring, just doing the news. And I'm a reporter, good reporter. So they said, we have a job. We went on strike with the dumbest thing in the world. Why people on TV ever go on a strike? That's the worst idea in the world because people think you make $1 million a year. We're making $30,000, $40,000 a year, but people think you make a lot more. So me and Oprah walking a picket line in Baltimore with signs that after on strike. Some people would come by, honk the horn. Other people would come by, give you the finger. I said, unbelievable. This is not good. So a lady was walking by the TV station in Baltimore, and all the guys on the strike line said, wow, look at them legs. I said, I ain't got time for that. No, this is a white woman. I'm not looking at her. And they come back and they followed her, talked to her a little bit, and I'm sitting there on the picket line. And they came back, said, who was that? I thought, who's that? And they said, her name is Suzanne Maggione. Okay, who's Suzanne? She's the executive producer at WMAQ in Chicago. I said, really? I said, Oprah, I'll be right back. Hold my sign. I ran 4 blocks to catch that one. 4 blocks. And I got up to her. Suzanne, I know you don't know me, but when you get back to Chicago, I had a VHS videotape. Could you give this to your boss? Thank you very much. That's all I want. I don't want anything. Because they were oogling at her body. I'm looking at her mind. It's a difference. And she says, no problem. See, what's your name again? Art Norman. She said, oh my gosh, this is a small world. Your roommate, when y'all went on field trips, was Chuck Gowdy. We all worked together. Wow, she's telling us, I said, Chuck, I said, you're dating, I'm engaged to Chuck Gowdy in Chicago. I produce the news at MAQ Channel 5, and Chuck Gowdy is my boyfriend. I said, wow. He said, he's been talking about you for days. I said, really? He said, then she tells me the story that Chuck Gowdy, we were on an RTNDA conference at the Biltmore Hotel in Asheville, North Carolina, and he was with some very fine looking blonde who had her own Corvette. I said, wow, man, Chuck, you doing all right, brother? And he said, man, we're very close. And then one day she comes by, Chuck Gowdy and I were very close. So she says, I said, he dumped her. I said, why did you dump her? He says, well, she said something that really went against my grain. I said, what did she say? He says, why are you always hanging around them niggas? Chuck said, that's it. You're gone. And he dumped her. Now, that's the story that Suzanne Maggione told me. I remember it because I lived it. And so I think he's a great man. I mean, when
some character.
Yeah. So Oprah's like, wow. I mean, we're all amazed at how we got to where we are. And being at MAQ, and I'm here in MAQ. Oprah's in Baltimore. I get a call from there. She said, all right, Tim and I just broke up. Tim was the guy she was dating in Baltimore. And it's a terrible breakup. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, Oprah. I'm so sorry. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. He said, you got any jobs in Chicago? I said, yeah, this job just opened up. Now, remind you that Oprah and I had the same agent. You know, everybody has an agent. This one someone that financially looks out for you all the time. So we have an agent. So I said, why don't we call Ron and see if you can audition for that job in Chicago? She said, that's a bomb. I want to get out of town bad. So our agent called ABC and said, listen, Rob Weller, you got to know the history. Rob Weller just retired as a talk show host at WLS to go to California to be the host of something called Entertainment Tonight. Entertainment Tonight. So I said, man, that'd be perfect for Oprah. So Oprah gets a job interview on Wednesday at WLS. So she flies into town. I go to pick her up. We go to the Knickerbocker Hotel that's WLS is paying for because her interview's on Wednesday. So she's hanging out with me Sunday and then Monday. And then she's hanging out. She meets Ron and Carol and Warner and all the people at Channel 5. She says, I like this place. I really like this place. Can you get me a job interview? I said, sure. I said, I have to go to the 20th floor. We were at the Merchandise Mart at the time. 19th floor was for all the regulars. The 20th floor was for the executives. So I went upstairs and I said, listen, her name is Monty Newman. Monty, there's a lady downstairs sitting in my office. Her name is Oprah Winfrey. She's an amazing talk show host. You need to grab her and put her into the pocket of, please talk to her, please. And at the time, my stock was very high. I was just hired. I mean, a year earlier, I was just hired. So he says, okay, all right, okay. You're being real aggressive here. I'll take her out to lunch. As a matter of fact, I canceled the lunch today, but I thought I'd be free, but I can take her to lunch right now. I said, good. I said, she'll be right up. So I go down to my office from the 19th floor to the 20th floor. And I said, Oprah, we're going to have lunch today. She said, really? I said, you with the president of NBC? She said, shut up. So he comes downstairs and they get up and they go out to lunch, a 3-hour lunch. So I said, man, she probably hit a home run. Absolutely. So she comes back and he comes back to the president of NBC, walks back to the office. I share, by the way, you know how things were in the 70s. I shared an office with Warner Saunders, Jim Tillman, and a guy named Otis Buchanan. They put all the Negroes in one office. Right. And the office was right across the hall from the news director. So he could always watch us. Right. But the point is, Oprah was in there that day. And we're just hanging out because she's real regular. And so I said, Oprah, how'd the interview go? How'd it go? She said, I think I shot myself in the foot, Art. I said, no. She said, yeah. He asked me, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? What would you do? I have, as the president of NBC, the #1 talk show host in America. His name is Phil Donahue. I never heard of you. If you're sitting in my seat, Oprah, who would you hire? Who would you go with? Phil Donahue or this little woman from Baltimore? And she said, I go with Phil Donahue. He says, okay, thank you very much. We had a good lunch. They talked about everything, baseball, apple pie, and everything else for 3 hours. So I said, man, she said I shot myself in the foot. I said, that's okay. You got a job interview on Wednesday. Let's focus on that. So that night, me and Oprah went over to Carol Marine's house and ate all her ice cream. Carol Marine said, y'all come over here that hungry? I said, we're buddies. We're buds. So the next thing, and here's what happened next. God works in mysterious ways. Remember, you're looking at Oprah Winfrey from in the 1980s. Big afro, dark skin, overweight. She goes on TV. Magic happens. God works in mysterious ways. And so they're saying, she ain't gonna last long. I said, see, everybody walked by my desk and said, your girl Oprah's on. Do you think many people will be watching? I said, I pray to God that somebody's watching her because she paid a lot of dues to be in Baltimore. And be in Baltimore from Kingsport, Tennessee to Baltimore and then to Chicago. I made that happen. And so she says, oh man, God works in mysterious ways. So you think about it. The first day she's on air, The ratings shoot up one day. They said, that's a spike, art. That's something because people, it's a nuance. The second day, higher. Third day, even higher. Now you got to remember, to the white man, she is a dark skin, overweight, real short afro because she just had an accident in Baltimore at the beauty parlor. So all her hair was burned out. She had real short hair. Mm-hmm. And they said, but people were watching her. She would talk and people would listen. And slowly but surely, she became number one in TV in Chicago. Beat the heck out of Phil Donahue. She was doing so popular, she beat Phil Donahue in the ratings. So 5 years after that, I'm president of the National Association of Black Journalists. I'm hosting a convention. I forget what city. It may have been Washington, D.C. Every Black reporter in the country's there. Radio, TV, newspaper, magazine. We're all there. I'm sitting with John H. Johnson. Man, this is big time. And then Monty Newman, the guy who took her out to lunch, walks up. He said, "All right, you got a minute? Let's have a beer." I said, "Sure." We go sit down here and say, "All right, I've been depressed. I've been drinking a lot more alcohol than I normally would." I said, "Really? Why would you do that?" He says, "Man, I am paid to recognize talent. That's what we do. I'm the president of NBC. If I see somebody right there, I have to forget the facade, look at the heart. Look at the heart." He says, "I didn't do that." And I said, "Well, Mr. President, let me tell you why. I know why. See, your vision of beauty is Vanessa Williams. Light skin, long hair, pretty hair, light eyes, pretty, light skin, all that going on, pretty, pretty, pretty. Oprah was none of that."
Right.
But she, it's like running a 100-yard dash with two 10-pound weights attached to each leg. She won. Oh my gosh. Phil Donahue, her ratings were so high, Phil Donahue had to retire. That's a true story. This is a true story. And this day, we're still very close. But the point is, it's and the nice thing about it, Oprah said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "You can't do nothing for me. God is taking care of me. I am lucky to be sitting next to you to help you." We left it like that. Man, I love that woman. And it takes a village to get to success. And I was part of that village. And Oprah never forgot anything I want from her. But she said, "I don't want nothing." See, he's paid well at NBC. He don't want nothing. Stephen and I flew out to Washington, D.C. We had a conference there. And on her Learjet. So I'm like, "Stedman, is this all you?" He said, "Yeah, man." God, man. We're in a Learjet flying to DC. And we're going to, so I had, as the president, I had Stedman speaking about sports. Right. So I got all of the Mercury Morris and all the legends, Arthur Ashe. I put a panel together where Stedman was speaking. He was the host. I'm standing in the background planning things out. And he said, "All right, let's go shopping." I said, "Wait, where are you going shopping?" He says, "I'm going down this area of DC is really high cotton." Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there. He said, "You gonna get something?" I said, "No, I'm with just with him." Stephen's buying suits, man. These $4,000 or $5,000 suits. I said, "Damn, you got some money, Stephen, don't you?" He said, "A little bit." I said, "Wow, man." Then they said, "You want to buy something?" I said, "Yeah, I'll look at that blazer." That's all I wanted was a blazer, just the top part, just the blazer. Oh, $400. Damn near broke. I said, "No, I paid for it because I didn't want a handout." Right. So I paid for it, and it took me 2-3 months to pay that off, my credit card. But the point is, I did it. So that we come back, and I said, "Man," he said, Oprah said, "What y'all do?" "Well, we just had a good time. Stephen and I would go out. We go to games together. We hang out together. And like Stephen's going to be in town next week. We're going to go to Oprah's favorite place called RL, right there on Michigan Avenue. It's a high-end restaurant where you walk through there. There's Mayor Daley over there. There's Jennifer Hudson over there. There's and everybody, respects everybody's space. So I'm sitting there and with Stedman, we sitting there chewing. He asked me to MC his banquet. It's athletes against drugs. So I said, sure, I'll be. So we're sitting there planning the program. In walks Oprah. Say, hey, Stedman, hey, Art, how you doing? We hugging and stuff. Then she said, I'm just in the neighborhood, and then she left. So I said, what's that about? He said, man, I don't know, man. He got no help. She's a little jealous. Okay. She saw his calendar. She said, he's having lunch at RL. Said, let me find out who's that Negro having lunch with. She walks in and she sees me. She said, oh, hey, Art, how you doing? But the point is,
she was all right.
She was all right then. The point is, these are small vignette stories of a woman who later became the richest Black woman in the world. Right to this day, she's a billionaire.
Almost twice.
But the point is, she started small. And she would love to tell other people's stories. And as the president of the Black Journalists at the time, I'm emeritus president now, whatever that means. What does that mean?
That means that you are forever etched and engraved in the success of the beginning all the way through to antiquity.
Wow, yeah,
that's my definition. I don't know what it is.
I would be there, and I always ask the legends to speak at our conventions. I always learn John H. Johnson, the first Black man to be on the Fortune 500 list of the richest men in America. He would be there speaking, and Oprah came one day to one of the conventions. She said, what you doing? I said, what you do? She says, I had Stedman speaking. She says, I don't want to go there. I said, go there and support your man. That look good. She says, nah, it'll distract. I said, you think so? She says, I will walk in. That's all they'll talk about. Oprah sitting in the back row listening to Stedman Graham. She said, I want him to be the focus of this confab. I said, okay. We stayed up in the room and just chewed the fat and just, had a good time. But Stedman was an excellent moderator for the discussion I put together. I mean, you got it. Mercury Morris, these guys, Bob Hayes was there and alive at the time. Arthur Ashe is there and alive at the time. And he's asking them how you keep drugs out of your body as a world famous athlete. Stedman was awesome. He was awesome. And then everybody said, man, Art, how'd you put that together? I said, this guy hang out with him in Chicago. He looked out, I didn't tell everybody. I said, he got legit, but I didn't say that. And I was on it. But see, those are dues. And that, like what's happening right now, that I have a ton, over 300 former interns. And all of them are doing well, except one. She went to work in Fort Wayne, Indiana as a reporter, and she was there and summa cum laude graduate from Purdue, the best of the best Black woman from Chicago. And she's there at the TV station as a reporter, and she falls in love with the janitor in the building.
Okay.
They get married, have 6 children, all healthy. She says, I don't want to be a reporter anymore. But that's it. She did not want to, but God blessed her to have 6 healthy children, all of them walking and talking, and their brains are, then they're not autistic. They're fine. God blessed her. So she said, that's all I want. And every time I see her mom, I'll go to push, and she said, all right, that's a shame, all that money I spent to get that girl to college, and she's living it, and she's not in poverty, but she didn't take all the perks for broadcasting. I said, well, that's God. But look at those healthy children. Maybe one of them will hit a home run. You look at it, and if you think about it, I had so many. If Everard Cassimy, you're going to hear that name a lot here in Chicago. He's my former intern. He is going to be the brand new anchorman at Channel 5. 28 years old, dark skinned, Black man, looks good. He's also a recording artist. I mean, he'd be sitting in the newsroom. I go on the stories with Mary Day. He'd be there. He'd be singing. I said, hey, you got a good voice. He said, well, I record. Really? He says, I do record on CDs. I said, man, that's pretty good. And so he's starting next week as the weekend anchorman at Channel 5. He was an anchorman at the WDIV in Detroit. Full disclosure about him, he's born and raised in Rockford, Illinois. And he was my intern, and he sent out well, you looking at your watch? What's up?
No.
Oh,
I'm
don't touch your watch around me, man.
I'm trying to figure out why this thing stopped ticking. Okay. When you came, you stopped time. So I'm like, okay, Come on
That's
now.
a good line, man. That's a good line. So
You got all the time you want.
this brand new anchorman that you're going to see on NBC within a week started with nothing. He's in my newsroom, and he would go out with me on stories every day. I would go out and do a story, do an interview, and I would stop the governor. I said, listen, governor, my intern wants to ask you a question. He has to put together a package for his resume reel. So he'd have a wonderful resume reel. Every story I did, he did, but he did it on the resume. Not on Channel 5, but on the resume. So he sends that tapes out. He sent 80 tapes out on Monday, 80 tapes out on Tuesday. A week later, nothing. No one said, well, this is a nice looking tape, and we don't have any openings. They didn't respond at all. That's 160 tapes. And he was in my office depressed. I said, so what we're going to do, Art? I think I'm going to go in the public relations or full-time entertainment. I said, oh, hell no. That's not your dream. Because I'm real aggressive with my young people.
Yes.
That's not your dream. I said, I got a plan B. So a former intern of mine from DePaul University, white, his name is Alex Shabbat. I said, Alex, he's working as a reporter in Grand Junction, Colorado. I said, I'm going to call Alex Evrod. You're going to see that name a lot in Chicago, Evrod. I said, I'm going to call the intern, and I want the intern to walk your resume reel of one of the 160 you sent out over the 2 weeks into the news director's office. And Evrod and I talking, because my kids talk to me like you and I talk.
Right.
And he says, all right, there may be 0.007 blacks in Grand Junction, Colorado. Why would they hire me? I said, diversity. They don't have to know. They just know you're a Negro. So Alex walks it in. He gets the job in Grand Junction, Colorado. I was so scared that he got the job so fast, my head swam. So I said, you and I need to have a one-on-one. I need to take you to lunch for a one-on-one. He said, what you going to do at one-on-one? I said, we're going to talk about some serious stuff. I said, what's the deal? I said, when you get to Grand Junction, Colorado, no white women. Mm-hmm. No, you're the only Negro within 100 miles of the TV station. I don't want them to say, oh yeah, he's in town and he's always around white females. I said, no. If they have a party after work, which journalists do, mm-hmm. You're not going to go.
That's right.
So he said, so Alex, the guy who walked his tape in, says they were going to a party. All the reporters from all the TV stations were going to a big party. So he says, Evrod, come on to the party. He says, no, Mr. Norman said, stay right here. I'm going to do what Mr. Norman says, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mr. Norman. So he stays in the room. The others, I'm calling them others, they're partying so hard, they're leaving the party. And Alex, the guy, I shouldn't have said his last name, but anyway, I did already. Alex says, he's junking around in the parking lot. And he says, and his girlfriend, who's drunk too, says rape. And somebody in the apartment complex heard the word rape. Mm-hmm. Police come, arrest the little white guy my intern too. Arrest him and charge him with rape. She's passed out, can't speak for herself. So they're thinking that he actually raped her. And they charge him with rape. And he's fired the next day. And Evrod and I talking on the phone said, oh, all right. I'm so glad.
Just what you were talking about.
This is just what you're talking about. And it turns out in a blessing in disguise that she wakes up and says, I wasn't raped. I was just jogging with him, and they dropped the charges on him. But the charge had been made already. And this TV station was not going to go back. It's on record. So we went to Joel Wiseman here in Chicago. It's an attorney for a lot of on-air reporters. And Joel Wiseman got that thing expunged because he was having trouble finding a job. After that, he was trying to market himself to people, but you know how they are. You go to Google. Oh, he was charged with rape. They don't see it was a bad charge, but they said, no, we're not going to do that. So Joel got, I don't know what he did, but he got all the things about that alleged charge wiped from Google. You can't find it, which is good. So he got a job, and And Evrod is working in Grand Junction, and he's so good that they hire him in Detroit. And they hire him in Detroit to be the morning anchorman. #1 overnight. Black man from Chicago is #1 in the news in Detroit. And then he sings too. He's got an album out now, and he's beautiful singing. You got to hear his voice, but you're going to see him first before you hear him. Okay. But he starts next week at NBC, and that's his story. And those are the stories that we come up with as journalists. And I'm they call me emeritus man.
That's big.
You got to pay dues to have that title.
You do. You absolutely do.
And I thank you for inviting me today.
I'm thankful for you being here. And you know what?
What?
One of the things
you gonna pay me now?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's talk about that after this. One of the things that I'm so glad that I did accept this responsibility, and this thing that we're doing here, radio, is people like you, who there's no one else like, that causes me not to have to talk. So my job becomes so easy.
Oh my gosh!
Like my audience.
You didn't ask any questions? Are you kidding me? You didn't ask any questions?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
Unnecessary. I'm gonna tell you another reason why.
Why?
Because you're coming back. I know you had to drive a long way.
Long way. I packed lunch to get here.
Next time, the lunch is gonna be on us.
Thank you.
But
Thank
you
you.
got to come back because there's some questions that I really have.
Yes.
And we don't have time for the show.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm glad you gave us what you did, because now you open the door for more questions, because I have more to ask.
Oh my God.
About.
Thank you, Don.
What I want to thank you for is being a true friend.
Yes.
And a brother.
Thank you.
And a mentor.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
I also want to thank you for giving the time that you have given.
Thank
and
you.
the resources that God has given you to a Chicago market that would allow me in 1989 to be blessed.
Yes.
To meet you. And it's been a wonderful ride.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. I love the history of this radio station. I love the man who put it together when he was homeless. That's God's word.
Homeless.
And he has a powerful prayer. Before we get on the air, and though some of you are just tuning in late, he prays with us, not for us, with us. We all joined in prayer, and it's amazing. You get goosebumps listening to his prayer. And then I asked him, I said, how'd you get this station? His story is amazing. You got to get him on this side of the microphone.
I am, again. Again. He's I don't want to say he's shy.
What's his name? Tell us his name.
His name is Reverend Franklin Morris. Franklin Morris.
He's all that in the bag of chips.
He likes the other side. I like him on this side.
Oh, he's awesome.
And because of that, we're going to have to do a part 2 and a part 3 and God knows. But you have to come back. And it can't be too long from now.
No, don't
because
worry
I don't want to. All of these wonderful
all the money you paid me to be here today.
Absolutely. Don't forget. Man. And all the wonderful people that are listening to the show, I want them to get the part 2. The part 2.
Poor thing didn't ask any questions. I'm sorry. I'm so bad. I just start talking, and I just keep talking, and I keep talking. I'm sorry. I should have sat there and just said. Here's question one.
Here's what I was thinking in the background.
Okay.
Of all of your talk today. Every building that's built has a foundation.
Right.
Right. And a lot of people get so enamored at looking at the. Last night we were on the 95th floor, up at the signature room.
Oh man,
and we were there for
that ain't cheap, man.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
I found that out. But the bottom line is, no one thinks about the foundation.
Right.
Everybody thinks about the glory and the glamour up above in the sky.
That's a good point.
Every mountain has a valley.
Good
and
analogy.
I wasn't able today, because of your great storyline.
Okay.
I wasn't able to talk about the valley. But I want you to take us there the next time you come to show us why the foundation that you have been standing on was powerful enough to build a reality like you built.
Well said. Well said.
I want that.
Man, I miss your questions now. Man, we got to come back.
Yes. You come back and
you paying me again?
Yes, sir.
All right.
This time it's going to be more than last time, though. I promise. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what time it is. Honestly, this man obliterated time. My watch stopped working. I don't even know if we completed our hour. So somebody please let me know where we are.
Okay.
15 minutes. We've got, so I'd love to see you on TV.
Yeah, go ahead.
You are one of the best actors I've seen. No, because it is an act.
Okay.
All of us are born out of a womb acting.
Right.
Now, sometimes the older people will say, you need to get your act together.
Right. They said
Because you have one.
Yeah.
It just ain't together.
It ain't together.
But we're looking at a person whose act is really together. And I want TV world and all of the wonderful fans all
We
over
got
the
10
world to
minutes.
see this.
Is that what you said? We got 10 minutes. Right?
10 minutes.
Okay.
Should we play a short piece of you actually in motion doing TV? Is that okay with you?
That's okay.
Well, let's do it. Let's roll that. I want them to see you on the stand.
Hello, I'm Art Norman, Channel 5 News, NBC News Chicago. Today I want to extol the virtues of a young man who always gives back. His name is Ernest Leonard. I worked with him inside the merchandise mart in Chicago when NBC was broadcasting from the 19th floor. He was downstairs running a Kinko's operation, typesetting resumes for people all over the city. He is a black genius. I'm telling you, he's good. Really good. By the way, he's got a ribbon cutting today. I'm sorry I can't be there. I have a family crisis going on, but stop by and patronize this young brother's business at 119th and Vincennes. It's 3E video and editing services, and he does photography, everything. But let me tell you about Ernest. I had young people at NBC who were trying to get to a job, graduated from college. They didn't have a lot of money, but they needed their resumes typeset. He did that for them, and they hit home runs. They got jobs in New York, Memphis, and LA, and one got a job right here in Chicago because he knew how to put together and typeset a resume. This is before the advent of laptops and desktops. Not everyone had them at the time. You had to go somewhere else to get it done. These kids love Ernest Leonard, and I do too. When they told me, I said, how much did he charge you? She said, nothing. What? It almost brought me to tears. Young man, Ernest Leonard, giving back, helping out young people. These kids had the grades, but no money, no money. By the way, let me tell you what he does at 119th and Vincennes. He does all kinds of stuff. Take a look at this video. Videotape concert performances, photo shoots, funeral service slideshows, music videos, church events, videotape funeral services. You know, with COVID-19 infecting our community, a lot of people are not going to funerals. They're relying on videotape services to do that, so you can actually go to a funeral virtually. He does it. By the way, if you want to hype your business a little bit, you might want to use his services for hyping what's happening on social media. Social workers like to let people know what they're doing in the community. You got a business you want to start in the community? Let Ernest Leonard know. He'll get it on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. He's the man. You know, I have so much respect for him. He's the man. He does things like Hollywood results at bargain basement prices. He is the man. #1 in the Midwest. I'm Art Norman, Channel 5 News, NBC News Chicago. Thank you, Ernest Leonard. You are the man. God bless you, my brother.
Wow, what a guy. What a guy. What a guy. Man,
you know
he
what?
helped me a lot. My kids went to him. They're from the South Side, from single parent homes.
Right.
They ain't got a pot to piss in.
Right.
He helped them out. And next week, you're going to see that young man. Watch him.
We can't wait. We can't wait. You know, one thing I would like to say, and I'm sure you can agree with me on this. Newscasting is also public relations.
Yes.
It's marketing.
Yes.
And it's advertising.
Wow. That's the
So
bottom
your
line.
voice has covered all three of them, and then did the technical part, which is called the broadcast.
Right.
But a lot of people don't know what goes into
Behind the scenes.
investigative reporting,
Yes.
which is most of your job.
Yes.
And next time you come back, if you want to hit on that for a second,
Sure,
you
sure.
can. But when you come back, we're going to get into that.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to let everybody know that, you know, I'm a cancer survivor. 3 years ago, my hair fell out. I was throwing up, had diarrhea, constipation. It was awful. But, you know, God works in mysterious ways. I turned the corner.
Yes,
And
sir.
He said, all right, you come on back to life.
You turn the corner, but not to the corner.
Yeah, good
Turn
line.
the corner. Turn the corner, not the corner. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
thank
man. We love you. You know
Keep
that.
up.
And I'm going
keep
to
up
be
good
calling
job.
on you for more than this show.
Man,
because we need some help.
I love all this money you're paying.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen from Listening Land, thank you so much for joining us today to be with Brother Art Norman, the #1 newscaster man in all of the land. Join us next week.
Yeah.
He might surprise us and come back because we're going to give him a whole lot of money. Don't you forget. Bam. Hasta luego.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.